think. So it's really great. Thank you all very much for coming. We're going to run for just over an hour, but if anyone needs to, sort of take off early or, has to sort of leave, either feel free to just sort of turn on your mic and, say bye to everybody, or I hope everyone knows how to use the chat feature. You can send a little message in the chat feature to everyone if you want to sort of sign off like that. Or if you just have to go and, don't feel shy, just off you go, thanks for coming, and we'll sort of catch up again afterwards. And I think I've got everyone's email address, so I will let you have the recording afterwards. But if you haven't got email contact with me, please feel free, maybe in the chat feature, or you can send me a private message or something just to let me know. Okay, so we've got quite a lot of things to do today. What I thought was we'll do sort of some of me demonstrating, but I'm going to also sometimes feature you so I can see what you're doing and give you some tips and feedback as well. So I hope everyone's okay with that. Okay, thanks, Pete. I saw the thumbs up. I don't know if we've got everybody on the top bar. It's possible we don't have Roz. Or there we are, yeah. Well, and Nick. Hi, Nick. Nice to see you. And I think Danny is there. Okay. So we'll perhaps we'll have to sort of move back and forward so we can see you all. But I'll sort of kind of ask you sometimes, spotlight you, so then I can give you some tips if I see that we need a little bit of correction or something. Okay, so thanks for joining. Now let's get started. We're going to start with just a few very simple little warm-ups just to kind of get into the flow. Then we're going to do a little bit of Qigong, just a very simple couple of Qigong moves to sort of recenter and sort of expand our energies to the extremities. And then also after that we'll be doing some tendon stretching, a little bit of foundation exercise work to integrate the whole body from the root, the waist, the extremities, lifting the waist. Also a little bit of Dan Chow, some walking line drills, and also a one-person push hands drill, which is also very good for integrating waist and hip movement and integration. And then we'll have a little bit of the first section of the Master Dong's Yang style Tai Chi Chuan and some corrections for everybody. If you haven't done the 4 before, don't worry, just follow along. But I know Nick and particularly Gabe, Dr. Draglan's disciple, who's always so enthusiastic and wonderful at organising everything. So we're going to do a few corrections for them too. But please follow along if you like, but that'll be towards the end. Okay. So that's the programme for today, and I'm very happy to welcome Catherine. Very nice of you to join us. Hi. Okay, hi. So we're just literally getting started with a few warm-ups, so that was good timing. Okay, so just very few for head, shoulders, waist, hips, legs, just very simple. So left, right, turn the head side to side. Eyes look at the opposite, at the shoulder, and then up, down, then we're going to make like a caterpillar. So if I do from the side, so you're going to make like a sort of caterpillar movement. Use your whole spine and legs, the arms relax. So like a caterpillar sort of undulating. So use your chin to kind of dig forwards, upwards, tuck the chin in. Okay, then we're going to go down the other way. Now, eyes are looking up at the ceiling, and then your eyes are trying to look down at the buttons on your jacket. Okay, hands on the shoulders, elbows stretch forward. So see if you can get a little bit of a round through the upper back. Put your chin on top of your folded arms. So this is 1, 2, raise the elbows to raise the chin. 3, draw the chin in so you make like a double chin. 4, look down between the gap between your elbows. So you have 1, 2, 3. Really scrunch your chin in, hold it down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's for head and neck. Now for shoulders, just remember now, I'm probably your mirror image. So my weight is in my left leg, my right hand is forward, my left hand is back. Okay. So try to have both palms, as you can see, facing the same way. Eyes and nose look down the front hand. Now trade your weight to the right leg. So now we transition, the left hand is in front, right hand behind. So this is for waist and hips. So you're just going to trade the weight back and forth and swap the hands over. Try to feel like your weight drops down that left leg. So you can pick up your opposite foot. Okay. So a bit like a sort of scissor action. So I'll turn to face the front so I can see you. I think, Pete, you need to transition your weight to the other leg. Other leg. Oh, okay. Okay, very good, Jerry. Okay, very good, Danny. Okay, Roz, I think you need to go with your weight into the other leg. Other leg. Keep that hand forward, but put your weight on the other side. Oh, okay, it's better. Yeah, okay. Okay, very good, Nick. Okay, Catherine, maybe see how my weight's on this right leg. Oh, okay, and the left hand's in front. Okay. Okay, so those are shoulders and also the waist. Now we'll work a little bit on the hips. So we're just going to make circles. These are in your hips, not your knees. Okay, so really get a good rotation through the hip. And then back the other way. Okay. And then we're going to go side to side. So really push out your hip. Okay. Okay. Last one for the hips, making a figure 8. So think of like a horizontal figure 8 that you're drawing with your hips. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to make a vertical, sort of diagonal figure 8. So again, in the hips. So try to keep your try to keep your shoulders still. So keep it more in the hips. I think we'll have to change push the panel over so I can see some other people. Let me just move okay, back the other way. Okay, so we're just going to push the camera across, the top bar across so we can see everybody. Oh, there we are. Okay, so now we can see everybody. Okay, so now we're going to just drop down into our hips, so take a wider stance. So just going to drop down to a side stance. It just go as low as you feel comfortable. Okay. Okay. And then just bow stance, both palms on the small of the back. Rotate the shoulders backwards and just push your hands into the small of the back. And the other side. One more each side. Okay, and then horse stance. So you want to really get your shoulders rotated back, hands into the small of the back. So you have like a little arch here. So you have a little bit of a Buddha belly going on. Okay, so now we're going to make hip circles. Okay, other way. Yeah, very good. Side, side. Forward, back. Other leg. Okay, other way. Side, side. Forward, back. Okay, last one for the legs. Stretch the toes forward, heel forward, toe, heel, underneath, and then rotate the ankle. Other leg, heel, toe, and then rotate the ankle. Okay, so stamp. And pat down the outside, up the inside. Okay, down the outside of the arm, up the inside. Okay, down the other arm. And round the dantian. And then ringman, so lower back, kidney area, and then back to the dantian. Okay, so that's us warmed up. Okay, so now we'll go back to spotlighting my square again. If you have questions at any time as we go through the next set of Qigong exercises, just either unmute yourself and just ask a question. Because of spotlighting, I think if we go full screen, then maybe you can get a bigger picture, I'm not sure. And full screen on the right then. Okay, maybe that's a bit bigger. But because of that, we'll go in and out of full screen because otherwise I can't see everybody. But we can change that later. I think we can minimize the participant list. Okay. So next exercises, if you want to close that, I think it's okay. Okay, so we're going to do some Qigong exercise. First we want to integrate legs to upper body, and then the upper body to each side, and then we're going to recenter and recalibrate and draw the energy back down to the dantian. So this exercise will start first from left side, so don't forget I'm your mirror. Okay, so we're going to go from left big toe, and we're going to draw up the energy from the big toe along the step, up the inside of the leg to the hip point, up to the dantian, upper dantian, to the shoulder point, and then out. Then we're going to go to the other side from the big toe, instep, up the inside of the leg where your trouser seam is, up to the hip point, the inguinal fold, lower dantian, upper dantian, shoulder, extend out. I'll roll my sleeves up so you can see better. Okay, so probably should have done that. Okay. So we'll leave the chat box up, so if anyone has a question, either you can unmute yourself to ask a question or you can send a message in the chat forum. Okay. So left toe up the inside, you're going to use your middle finger, pardon me, you're going to use your middle finger. So this is attached through to your heart meridian and pericardial meridians. So So the middle finger really relates to the pericardium meridian, but they're both very closely related, pericardium, heart meridian. So this is why you use the middle finger. You're going to draw the energy and integrate all that energy from the lower to the upper extremities. So with your mind and your body working as one. So swap over. Now use your body to draw your hand up rather than your hand working by itself. So imagine here, this is the liver meridian. You're drawing through. This is up the liver meridian. Also connecting through to different points on the small intestine meridian in the arms. You're inhaling as you draw up, exhale as you release. Okay, then we're going to stand straight and starting again with the left side. Bring your right hand, same middle finger, draw up the middle finger, middle of the arm to the shoulder point, across the body to the opposite shoulder point, release. So again, use your body to draw your hand. So you're drawing the energy along. So now you're integrating both sides of the body. Okay, so middle finger. So see if you can use your body turning, your waist turning to bring the arm along and shoot it out to the left side. Okay, so now we want to recenter. We've extended the energy all the way through to all the extremities up and down. So now we're going to recenter. So it's slightly different than just a normal recentering. You're going to inhale as you draw the energy up, gather the energy from above. Let the fingertips curl. Sorry, I can't see my hand. Maybe we could just adjust the camera very slightly, just so you see my hands. So normally we would have this type of recentering. Then your fingertips are going to curl inwards towards where the fontanelles would join. And what we want to do here is we want to, instead of as you bring the hands down, draw your head back. So you maintain the hands going down the conceptual vessel. Hollow the chest as the hands come down, hands out to the side. Roll the palms back and open the chest, and then come back stationary. So from the front, so the feet are staying stationary, so I'll show the hands, are more important at this point. Hands coming up, gathering the energy from above, and you're looking up at your hands. Now let the fingertips drop downwards to point towards the top of the head. Pull the head inwards so the hands continue going down where the head would have been, down to the chest points. Curl the chest in, curl the dantian in, drop the hands down all the way. So you brought all the energy back down to the dantian. Hands go out to the side, continuing. Open the chest, come back. Now this time is the last time. Inhale. Fingers start to drop downwards towards the top of the head. Draw the head inwards, down to the chest. Roll the chest inwards, so you expand the back. Drop the hands down. Bring the hands to the dantian, and this time, hands out to the side, and release. Okay? So let's just see if we have any questions about that set. So it's very simple, but just waking up the body, extending and integrating the energy, the chi from upper to lower body to the extremities, side to side, and then recenter. So anyone have any questions? Okay, so the only thing to really watch for in that last movement is when you get to this part, if I do it from the side, that you, instead of just, when your hands are pointing down to the fontanelles, if you don't move your head, your fingers are stuck there. So you have to draw your head back. So it's imagining that you're drawing this energy down the conceptual vessel where it would be in this imaginary place in front of you. So when your conceptual vessel would normally fall down the front of the body, you're actually using this sort of, your fingers to guide it down, and you have to roll round the chest, so you really draw it down to the dantian. Okay, so that's the only sort of tricky part of that last movement. Okay, so if you have any questions at all, just feel free to jump in or send a message to the chat feature. So now we're going to do a little bit of tendon stretching. So I think some of you have done this before, but I think Pete and Danny, you've done this before, yeah? Gabe, I know you and Nick have done this before. I'm not sure about some of our other participants today, but just in case you haven't done it before, I'll just briefly talk through it as we go, and then we'll run through one time as a sort of practice session. But again, don't forget, I'll make this video available to everybody so you can be able to follow along at your own pace later. So I think we'll have to sort of change the camera again slightly, just to go down so you can see my feet a bit more. So hopefully you can. Oh, too much of my feet. Okay, okay, hopefully that's a bit better. Okay. Okay, thank you. My invisible technical assistant. Okay, so first of all, we're going to just take a wider stance. So feet are going to splay outwards. You don't want to have a rounded horse stance like you would normally have in a holding post posture. You're going to have this sort of wider stance with the feet splayed outwards. Imagine you're sitting on the edge of a bar stool. So you just got your bottom sort of perched slightly on the bar stool. Hands are going to stretch out in line with the same direction as the knees. Then you're going to bring the hands in front of you, palms facing towards the belly, dantian area, or just above. Turn the palms to face away from you. Extend the hands forward, and then rotate the palms up, so the fingers point straight up to the ceiling. Extend the hands out to the side, and really try to get a good extension across the shoulders, through the shoulders, as if you were pulling the palms away from each other. Relax off, and then extend. Still imagine you're being suspended from above, so you get a really good stretch through the whole body. Okay, one more time, stretch. Very good. And then we'll go fingertip to fingertip. We're going to stretch. Imagine you're being sort of pulled apart. Relax off. So we generally do this like 2 or 3 times for each, stretch and extend and relax off 2 or 3 times. And then relax and then stretch. So you don't want to create tension. So I'm stretching and pulling, but you can see I'm still talking. So don't hold your breath or, tense up. Rotate the palms upwards. So you really want to get a good twist through the whole arm. So that's not enough. So you have to really get that extension and turning through the wrists. Then again, extend and stretch. Relax off. Extend and stretch. Relax off, one more time. Okay, and we're going to drop the elbows down and the hands come together in a sort of scissor action, extending forwards. Rotate the fingers up joint by joint until you make a little fist. Bring the hands down to the inguinal fold. You're going to lift up and inhale and inflate the chest. Open up the palms, and now you're going to push forward as you exhale. Push forward with the heel of the palm slightly forwards and downwards. Middle finger to thumbs, then form a beak. Fingers down. Really get a good stretch, open the hands. See how I'm getting a really good stretch through the wrist, so that would not be enough. So you might feel this a little bit uncomfortable across the wrists or in the arms. If you find it painful, then you can back off a little bit, but try to get a good stretch. One more time, stretch, release. Then we're going to turn the fingers to point backwards. Extend again through the shoulders. Imagine you're stretching all the way through. So this will hit different parts of the shoulder. Extend and stretch again. Once more. Okay, turn the beak to face back down again. Extend and stretch one more time. And then as before, palms down, stretch. We'll just go one more time with the palms up again. Extend and stretch. So because of time, I'm doing it a little bit shorter, but you can do this and repeat these extending and stretching for longer if you wish. Okay, drop the elbows down. Hands come together in front of you again. Roll the fingers up like before, one joint at a time. Now you're going to bring the fists behind you now. And I'm going to turn around so you can see. You're going to grab your right thumb with your left hand. So if I turn around, okay. Then you're going to bring the feet together. Going to sort of stand tall again. Now this time, because I want you to understand what we're doing, so I'll turn around, but then I'll turn back again. You're going to rotate the shoulders back and drop the hands down, okay. So you were here, rotate the shoulders back, drop the hands down, and look up at the ceiling. So you make a nice banana shape through the whole spine. So you're looking up at the ceiling, hands are extended down the back, down by the bottom. And then come back to stand tall and release the hands out to the side. So I just did that from the side view, so we'll have it on the recording. So you were here, so rotate the shoulders back, hands go down as you look up at the ceiling, and you get a nice, evenly banana-shaped stretch. And then you will come back. Okay? So just to make sure that you can see from all sides what's happening. So this is all going to be one exercise, which we'll do in a follow-along set just very shortly. So now the hands can go up, out, to the side, over the top. I'm sorry you can't quite see my hands again. So this time, palm to palm. Let's show the camera so we can. We'll just show the camera so you can just see my hands. So this is only a very quick movement, so we'll just for a moment. Okay, so palms are facing each other, stretching up at the ceiling, also looking up. And then this time, hands going to come over to face the top of the head. Draw down. Swallow when the hands are in front of the throat. And then draw the energy all the way down. Hands come out to the side. Now you're going to rock your body weight onto the toes. So you feel like you're almost going to fall forwards. Fingers pointing straight forwards. Then come back to stand tall. I think it's probably easier if I turn away from you for this next part, for the legs. Okay? So, weight from the left side, right hand in front, left hand behind. Now we're going to transition the weight to the right leg, right hand behind, left hand in front. Left hand goes straight up, right hand down. Right hand makes a fist as it goes all the way up to the ceiling. Left hand underneath the armpit. And we're going to sit down into the into the right hip. Trade the weight across. Am I still in the shot? Okay, I'll just step back to be in the shot again. Okay. Bring the right hand along to grab hold of the left wrist, and you're going to stretch the hands with the left palm facing away from you. Separate the hands, push both palms away from each other, make fists, and now you're going to turn to your left to look back at your rear right heel. Stretch the right hand forward, left hand back. Then we're going to come back to look forwards again. Bring the left hand now to grasp the right wrist. Stretch. Right palm facing away. Now let go of the right wrist. Left hand makes a fist. Right hand underneath the armpit. We're going to turn and drop down the left hip. Trade the weight across. Bring the left hand now to grasp the right wrist. So stretching the palms away from the rear foot. Open the palms, stretch apart. Make two fists. Turn to your right to look back at your rear left heel. So you're getting a really good stretch through the oblique side of the body, which is related to your gallbladder meridian. Look back to the front. Bring the right hand to grasp the left wrist and stretch. Then we're going to step forward. I'll come back in short. Release the hands. Bring your thumb to the base of your ring finger. Curl the fingers over the top. Push the fists into the inguinal fold. And then you're going to walk 3 little circles. Slowly coming back to standing and releasing the hands as you go. So last circle, just sort of release the hands and relax. Okay, so hi Lily, hi Catherine. So we're going to just do that as a run through. And I think so that I can see everybody, we'll go to gallery view, so I can kind of see you. I think if we minimize that, child. Yeah. Okay, so this way I can kind of keep an eye on you, but I'm not going to talk through this one. I'm just going to do the movement so you follow along. And then if I see anything or see anyone that needs a bit of help, then I'll sort of call out. Okay. So Pete, try to relax your shoulders, but stretch them at the same time. And we'll just do one stretch and release for each one. Keep breathing naturally. So, Roz, just bring your hand, turn your hands the other way. Oh, okay, yeah. Inhale. So make a beak. Okay, very good. So Pete, really stretch your wrist more. Okay, okay. Oh, very good beak, Jerry. Oh, and Nick, very good. Okay, turn it back, face the back, yeah. So just doing one a stretch release just because of time. So Gabe, you can hold your hands up a little higher. Okay, So you'll feel a bit more stretch through the shoulders that way. Lenny, try to keep don't have your arms too far back. Oh, okay, that's better. Okay, very good. Okay, now we're going to bring the hands to the small of the back, remember? Grasp your right thumb, so I'll turn around for this. Hands go down, remember, down to the bottom. Okay, come back to stand tall. Yeah, very good. Hands release. Okay. So, stretching out, look up at the ceiling. Okay, hands now pointing, palms facing down towards the head. Sorry, my hands are out of shot a little bit. Bring the hands down. Rock the body weight forwards. Dispel all the stale energy through the fingers and toes as you do this. I'll turn back around in a moment so I can see you, but just to get us all on the right leg. Okay. So separate the hands. So we'll just go a little quicker, obviously, for time, but you can do this for longer. Fists. Okay, looking back at to the left. Okay, now we're going to look forwards again. Great, bring the left hand around the right wrist. Stretch. Okay, left hand makes a fist, right hand under the left armpit. Turn to face the other side now, drop to the left hip. Okay, right hand's going to grasp the left wrist. Okay, very good. Stretch between the front hands and the rear foot. Hands separate, push between the palms, two fists, look back to your right, remember? Look back at your rear left heel. Face forwards again. Bring the right hand to grasp the left wrist. Left hand becomes a palm, pushing away from you. Step the left foot in. Hands separate, thumb to the base of the ring finger. Make little baby fists, push into the inguinal fold, and we make our little circles. And 3 circles. So last one, just slowly come back to standing, release the hands, and relax. Okay, very good, looking very good. Any questions? Any problems? No? Okay. That's a good idea, Gabe. Do you want to just everyone grab like a quick drink of water, just quickly, while we get ready for the next set? Can you bring the chat feature back up again, just in case? Can you spot that me? Let me I can speak with you again then. So we'll go back to the big screen again. So that was our tendon stretching. So first Qigong is like, awaken the energy. The tendon stretching is, oh, hi Kalila. Oh, that's really good that you can join us. Shall we just go back to gallery view so we can Hi, Kalila. Good to see you. So Kalila's just joining us. We've got a really nice group of people coming from all over. I know Kalila's in Atlanta, Georgia. So good of her to join. We've got people from the UK, people from different parts of the States. So it's really nice of everyone to get together on a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon for those of us in the UK. Hi, Kalila, good to see you. Hi, nice of you to join us. So we're just going to go back to the main screen again, and we'll do the next set of exercises. I was just explaining, just for Kalila's benefit, I'll make this recording available to everybody later, so you'll be able to see what we did earlier as well. Okay, so tendon stretching is all about, elongating the sinews and opening the joints, which is also helping the blood and energy to really pump and circulate through the body. But it's not a qigong exercise. Oh, and I saw Gabe's question, so maybe when we come a bit further on towards the end of the session, before we do the form, I'll go over some of those questions. But yes, question about Shanghai. Yeah, I'll talk a bit about that later on as well. But very strange times we're living in. Okay, so this next set of exercises are foundation exercises. So these are really about integrating waist and the rest of the body. So this is incorporating how to use the waist to control the other parts of the body. So they talk a lot about lifting the waist. So you'll hear like Ling Yao, means lift the waist. So if the waist is lifted out of the hips, as it were, it can then control the body's movements. If your waist is sort of stuck inside your hips, there is no waist movement to control the rest of the body. So the waist is almost like a sort of a second brain, if you like. So the same way if you see a cat, when cats move. I remember Danny's cat terrorized Master Show when we were in the UK. But the cat's spine is almost like a second brain. It's a sort of second thinking energy part of the body. It can move the body without the cat sort of rationalizing, how shall I move? So that's what our waist should be like, so that when we react to something, it's from here, not from our feet or from our head. So these exercises are about how to discover and gain control of the waist. So the first one that we'll do is a more sort of static one. So take a sort of fairly wide stance, kind of a horse stance, so turn the feet in as far as you can, not like what we did in the tendon stretching, so try to get this sort of movement posture with the feet below. So you're also still going to be sitting in the hips a little bit. So I'll do this from the front and then I'll show it from the side as well. So you're going to be sitting into your hips, hands out to the side. This time the palms, rather than face away from you, they're going to face inwards towards the front. But you can feel there's still a bit of a stretch through the wrists themselves. So the first movement, and if I show you first, and then I'll do it from the side, but that way you can kind of see what we're going to be doing. So you're going to bend forwards. So you're going to basically fold over from the waist. You're going to bring the hands forward, and you're going to extend, sit back into your haunches and extend the fingertips away from the haunches. Drop the head down to look forwards. To look down. And then look forwards again. Then imagine someone's got you by the tips of the fingers and they're lifting you up, but your hips are not going to rise, but you're being lifted up and then slowly dropped down again, but someone's still got hold of the top of your head. Okay? And then you're back into your starting posture. So I do it from the side. So there's not a lot of movement, so don't be tempted to sort of push upwards to try to get more movement. It's feeling your waist movement is what's important. So you're going to fold forward from the waist, extend the hands forward and really sit down and push back into the haunches. So you really get this stretch here to the fingers in the front. So look down at the seat, at the floor, and look down at the up at the wall or space in front of you. And then imagine someone's got you from the tips of the fingers, lifting you up. You feel yourself being brought straight again, and then dropping down into the hips a little bit more, but being suspended from above. Okay, one more time. Drop, fold forwards, extend the fingers, sit back into the haunches, look down, really get a good stretch and arch from the back. Look up, so looking direction forwards, being lifted up by the fingertips. And then dropping down, but being suspended up by the top of the head. Okay, so I'm going to put us onto gallery view so I can see you. Okay, we'll just minimize that, thank you. Okay, so this should be quite tiring. Are you tired, Pete? Good. Okay, so we're going to fold forwards, extend hands, sit back into the haunches so you really feel that stretch into the back of the hips. Look down at the floor, then look straight up at the TV, looking forward, or the computer, stretching. Imagine someone's lifting you up by the fingertips, then dropping down back into your starting posture. Okay, and again. Looking forwards, lifting up, and sinking down. One more for that. Fold forwards, sit back into the haunches, look down at the floor, look forwards up at the screen, lifting up, sink down. Okay, relax, and step back together. So you can shake out a little bit. Okay, so, so you should feel very hot and sweaty. So you'll really feel in your hips here and here, and also through the ribs. So this is a really good exercise. You really want to identify this waist area. But because it's static like that, you really get to feel the hips in particular. So that's a good exercise. Okay, any questions? Nick, hi.
Yes, Master Rose. I've always found the discussion about the waist one of the most confusing things. Maybe it's the translation issue from the Chinese to English. So is it something that you actually can put your attention on or locate, or is it simply when you lift up and sink, it's just a natural point at which the upper and the lower divide? Or is it something else completely?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Nate. Should we go back to the main screen? Okay. So this is a very good question, and you know, in Shanghai, China, anywhere in China, but in classes in Shanghai, this is a common question for Chinese students. So everybody's like, what is the waist? So even though in Chinese, you know, people can, you know, Chinese students, they can read the text, they can understand the Chinese texts and the classic texts, you know, it doesn't help, you know, because it's still like, well, what does it really mean? So one of the analogies I think has been very helpful for me to, you know, get my own understanding and also to be able to pass it on is if you think of animals, and in particular say cats, because, you know, I think cats have a very good Taiji sense. This idea that there are two things. There is a physical sense of the waist, and there is also this sort of esoteric, energetic excuse me, sense of the waist. So that's your yin and yang component. So there's an intention that you need to place on this part, and there's a physical structure that you need to, slowly be able to activate and use. So it's a two-pronged approach, if you like. So that's why in traditional teaching methods, the masters, when they were all younger and learning, their masters always taught them foundation exercises. You never went straight into the form, because you would never understand how it worked and how to use the waist and the intention and the energy without this, real foundation for your structure and how the body moves. So that's why the focus was on these sort of structural elements to be able to gain control and strength and, maneuverability of this waist. So that's a part of why we do a lot of foundation exercises, because without those, the form is just choreography. The other part of the waist for structural purposes, in Chinese, when they talk about the waist, they don't mean, this very sort of narrow band. So in terms of going to the tailors to have your clothes made, the waist is like, this is your waist, this particular band. But in Chinese terms, in the understanding of the waist, it's that whole spine, that whole spinal column, and all of that structure. And in particular, the lower part of the body, the lower back, these thicker joints. So when they talk about the waist structure, they're meaning, the spine, the lower back, the stronger, the mingmen, these lower vertebrae, and the dantian. These are all part of the waist. So at the beginning, your dantian will feel like just this smaller area, but later on the dantian, because you gain control of the whole waist, which is your whole spine, then your dantian can be everywhere. So you'll see that in the classic texts, the sort of translations, like the dantian is everywhere. That's how it becomes everywhere, because it starts off as, this small, thin structure of the spine, slowly becomes greater and greater and greater to incorporate the whole body. And then you're able to also gain control of the outside energy around you to become part of your physical movements. So this yin and yang sort of tangible and intangible integration take place. So that's down the line, as it were. But it is an actual physical structure as well as this esoteric, energetic quality, because you're constantly having these yin-yang juxtapositions working together in harmony. So, does that kind of answer your question, Nick?
Well, yeah, it's an explanation I've never quite heard in the relation to the spine. It reminds me of what several chiropractors have said to me, which is if you manipulate the spine, you're manipulating every part of your body.
Yes.
So it kind of goes along with that idea.
Yes. Can you minimize the chat feature? We're just going to minimize the chat features, otherwise sorry, I can see clearly now. So I think this is a really a difficult question, because not a difficult question, but I think it's a difficult point, because it can so easily get caught up with like the waist of your pants. And then you'll see people, it's just like turning here. And that's not to say that isn't part of your waist, it is, but that's not the entirety. So yeah, I think for me, watching animals in particular, you can really understand, particularly cats, I think, and some particular like squirrels and small, those kind of monkeys, not so much chimpanzees, but those kind of very fluid, like lemurs and those types of monkeys, where their spines and their whole tail, is all involved. Then you can really see, oh, that's how the whole body is controlled, through all those movements of their spine, like that. So I think looking at cats in particular, you'll see this yin-yang quality as well. Their whole body reacts, but more than just their physical structure. When they sense something, there's an energy that moves with them. So I think that's also a really good way to look at the waist in its entirety, is this yin and yang, this intangible sense as well. Okay, thank you. Any other questions before we go to the next couple of exercises?
Yes, Rose, I have a question.
Yeah.
It's me.
Hi, Jackie. Hi.
When you actually when you bend forward, do you straighten the legs?
Oh, very good question. No. So we're never going to straighten the arms or legs. So you don't have to have like really bent legs. So if you see here, my knees have a slight arc, slight bow into them. So that would be enough. So,
Okay.
yeah. So no, you don't need to have no straight legs. And same with the arms, although they look fairly straight.
But when the arm moves forward, does it go? Does it start pointing forwards?
Yeah. So from here, when we go forward like this,
Yeah.
you see how your fingers are naturally pointing forwards, although they're out to the side. Now you're stretching really forwards.
So the fingers just point forwards.
Yeah. So hands come forward first, and then as you stretch back into the haunches, as you look down, that's when you really stretch the fingers straight forwards.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So there's a sort of natural feeling, like the sort of a natural transition, if you like. As you look down, then your fingers really stretch forward. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So now we're going to do just a couple of exercises that have a sort of more of a rotational aspect to them. There's a quick sip of water.
Don't forget games.
We have another question in the chat feature. Let me just have a look. Oh, yes, Catherine, yes. So if I don't already have your email, if anyone hasn't already given me their email address, if you're not on my email list, you can send it, I mean, you can do a private chat message. Just send me your email address, and I will make the link available to everybody after the workshop. So yeah, don't worry, I will post the link for the recording to everybody afterwards, so then you can follow along. But yeah, so I think in the chat feature you can send a private message to me, if you don't want everyone to see your email address. So if you want to do that, that'd be fine. Maybe we can put my email address into the chat feature, babe. So I'll put my email address into the chat feature as well, so you can also write my email address down and contact me via email as well if you prefer. Okay, and maybe you can do it to everybody. Okay, thanks, Catherine. I saw it. I saw your message. Thank you. And I'll just put my email address in the chat box to everybody. So then, if anyone wants to, they can also write to me. Okay. So we'll go back to the full screen. And I know Gabe had a question about Shanghai, but I think we will probably run over a little bit, and we're going to work on some forms. So I'll answer the question a little bit after these exercises, if I may. Okay. So slightly wider stance, not too wide, not as wide as before. So this particular one, I think we go back to the full screen then. Just go back to the full screen. Speak of you, I mean, yes, I speak of you. Okay. So I think I'll have to come forward in a minute just because of the wall behind me, but just around about, just slightly wider than hip width apart. So still like a horse stance. Okay, so I'll show first and then we'll do it together. So this exercise, you're going to lift up with the left palm, rotate to look back behind you, down, up the front. So this is a hand movement, but you're actually transitioning the weight from side to side as you go. So here the weight's now transitioning to the left leg, lifting up, look back behind you, transitioning now center, weight in the middle, transitioning over to the right side. So left palm up, right palm up. Weight to the left side, look back behind you. So we're going to transition the weight as you look back As the hands come up in the middle, weight transitions to the opposite right leg as you look back. So try to keep the elbows down so you don't don't lift the shoulders up. So it's like a waving dragon. So this is integrating the waist, turning, a bit more of a twisting and turning, and your weight is trading. So weight drops down, but always being suspended from above, lifting up with the hips and the spine slightly as you turn. So if I do it from the back, so you can sort of see from following me from this side. So here the weight trades across to the left side. So you're looking back behind you. And as you turn your heel, because your weight's in your right leg, your left foot can sort of pivot a bit on its heel. And vice versa now, the right leg. So this stops you from twisting your knees. Okay. So from the side view. So you'll feel a sort of torquing through the waist as well as a lifting. Okay. So this is the stationary part of the movement. And then we're going to put this into a walking line. So then we'll start to move the legs. So the hand movements are going to stay the same, but we're going to have our feet moving. So I'll keep an eye because I don't want to go out of shot. So I'll try to manage it so I stay within the shot. So if I show you first, so it's going to be opposite hand to opposite leg. So left hand up, right hand is facing up as well. Okay, look back behind you. As your hands sweep forwards now, you're going to step with the left foot, drop the hips down, look back behind you. And as you're bringing your hands forward, that's when your right leg will go forwards. Okay? So looking back behind you, as your hands sweep forward. So this sweeping of the hands helps the left foot go forwards. Okay? So left foot forwards. So you're actually using your body weight to help propel you forwards. Very limited space. So normally you can do this on a very long walking line, but obviously for Zoom purposes it's a little bit truncated. So, okay, so this is under their elbow, this is controlling their wrist. Okay? And then you have, or my technical assistant. So if we were doing like, why is the leg coming forwards? He's being very careful. We have, so think of what, this is also what we could be doing. So just bearing in mind what the purpose is for some of the movements, okay? So let's just do a couple more lines and maybe we'll do a gallery view so I can see everybody. Oh, and thanks, Lenny, I saw your message. And oh, thank you for joining us, Lenny, yeah. Okay, so let's, sorry, very short space, but we'll do a couple of lines each. Okay, so right leg, left hand in front, sweeping back around. Step forward with the left leg, right hand's in front. Turn back to look behind you.
I'm glad to movie that one.
Okay. Are we okay? Okay, so I'm going to go out of shot. So, any questions?
I have a question again, Rose.
Yes, hi Danny, yes.
When do you actually shift the weight? At what point do you shift the weight forward?
Oh, wait, okay. So it's, if we go back to speak with you again. Yeah, so it's sort of organic. So if I just do it sort of very briefly, it's happening together. So as I'm transitioning my weight forward, my hands are going back. As they're sweeping forwards, I step the left foot forwards, and as the hand.
So your weight is already forward then?
It's transitioning. So it's quite organic. So rather than like it's forward one, it's forward two. This is teaching you how to slowly transition weight. So from here, the foot goes down. As the hand comes up, let your weight drop through that hip more and more. And once the hands are going backwards, now your weight's fully in the left leg. Then the right foot's going forward as your hands come forwards. So it's sort of like if you were turning an egg timer over, you don't get the sand dumped straight into the other end of the egg timer. It's a sort of slow pour, slow pour, slow pour, and then it's all done.
So the leg movement doesn't really sort of stop. It doesn't really stop.
No.
Okay, it is continuous.
It continues. Unfortunately, because of the space, it's harder to see that.
Yeah.
But
no, as long as I'm clear on that it's actually a continuous movement.
Yes, it is. So I think we did some walking lines in London before.
Yeah, we did it last time. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a similar kind of concept of this. It's like a constant, like an egg timer, the sort of the weight trade. So this is teaching you. So here, now I'm fully in that leg because this right leg is up. But there's the thing for everyone to kind of get the concept of is not sort of
Okay.
like this. It's a slow transition. Okay. That's a good question. Any other questions?
One quick question, Master Rose. When you're stepping forward, I'm guessing, but I could be wrong, that you're rotating outward a bit, maybe 45 degrees, or you're stepping straight?
You mean with your toes?
Yeah, or the direction of your foot.
Yeah.
I find if I step straight, I'm a little less balanced when I then move forward, but if I open up a little bit to the right or the left, I have 45
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is a good point. If we'll just go back to the main screen. Yeah, actually, I know it's going to be difficult, but the way to get the balance is this way, not that way. So you're going down, so your knee is in the same line with the hip. So your toes if you have your toes straight forward, then yes, you feel unbalanced. So your toes are going to curl inwards a little bit. Like, obviously you can't see me there. So instead of going outwards, you're going to go inwards. Okay? And when you're going inwards, as your weight goes into this foot, this back leg also helps as a stabilizer until the last minute when your foot comes up off the ground. So here your back leg, the heel is up off the ground, and the toes and knee also pointing inward slightly. So you're getting like this type of a posture with the feet. Okay, so rather than going out, they're going in. So that they're doing like this. Okay. So this is getting this sort of crisscross with the hips. So it might take a little bit of getting used to, but this is how how to use your curling your femurs inside the hip bones, inside the hip joint, to get the balance. If you're turning outwards, it seems like you're balanced, but you have no stability in the root then. I hope that kind of answers your question.
I think so. So we turn actually inward just a little bit.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and then we have to do a little rotation. That does seem more stable.
Yes. So, unfortunately, because of my dark trousers, you can't see. This will look a bit funny, but if you put your hand where your inguinal fold is, you're actually dropping your dantian, helping the dantian to drive the weight down through the hip. So I'm sorry, it looks a bit strange. Okay, so you're using your hip folding to give you stability, as opposed to relying on the feet to give you stability. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Please.
Oh, sorry, somebody asked a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, hi Dave, yeah, hi.
Hi, yeah, I know Nick's gonna ask me about this when I see him. So if we could see your feet on that, because it looks to me like what it is a follow, sorry, you probably can't see my feet. It looks like it's a follow step, like the heels coming up.
Yes, it is, yes.
Yeah, if we could just see that where we could see your feet, then then both Nick and I will, maybe we won't argue about it for an hour.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera down. So you
Okay, thank you.
forgive the little legs. Okay. So another issue is you need to drop the weight through the hip. So it's.
I've never seen it. Stepping in.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said before, if you're dropping your weight down here, so it goes down through the leg, use your hip to help.
You do this when you do other moves.
Okay. So you're always suspended from above, but your hip is doing a sort of folding action. Okay, does that help?
Yes, it helps me. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good question, Gabe. Thank you. Good question, Nick. Okay, so I think, and I see we have a chat question. Just check if there's a question on the chat feature. And we have one more exercise that I was going to show you, and then we'll do a little bit of form work. So I know some people might have to head off, so sorry if we don't get to sort of say goodbye to you as a group, but thank you very much for joining if you kind of have to head off. Okay, so last exercise, and then we're just going to do the first section of the form. But just a quick recap of Gabe's question earlier about Shanghai. I'm in constant contact with my students and friends, and obviously Master Wong, of course. So I'm in constant contact with also my colleagues at university as well. So on the ground in Shanghai, they do have a few odd cases in China. They've had cases, they like to call them imported cases, where people returning to China from either expats going back to work or coming to work, or returnees, local people returning. So they call these imported cases, but they have had more of those, but they have had what they've called domestic cases, where just sort of spontaneously in the community, COVID has reappeared, and they haven't really kind of got to the bottom of those infections yet. They've had a few in Shanghai, but they've actually been concentrated in other areas of China. But that is not as bad at all as anywhere else in the world. But they are still very cautious, and they have all sorts of restrictions on flights going in. When I get information from different people, I post it on my WeChat account, and I'll put some posting in our DDA newsletter as well, which I send out every month. But at the moment, they are still heavily restricting incoming international citizens, shall we say. So you have to have all sorts of visa paperwork, letters, etc., etc. They're not open to tourism as yet. So you'd have to have a work visa, and to get back in, you have to have a valid visa. So even if you, like me, I actually have my Chinese green card waiting for me in Shanghai. It's there, you know, but it's not helping me because I can't get in to get it. So, you know, even people with valid things like that, until you get a valid visa to enter, and they cancelled everybody's visas. So if your visa then ran out, as it were, as well, in between, so it's a lot of bureaucracy and paperwork. But for tourism purposes, those kind of tourist visas at the present time, there's just no news. So I think before the tourist visas are, you know, universally allowed, it'll be the work visas, you know, people who have valid work visas or new work visas that will be coming in first. So it's still very much up in the air, like when things will be back to normal in Shanghai. In terms of life in Shanghai, you know, my students and friends, they go to the parks. They're not encouraging big get-togethers, so that was Chinese New Year. They didn't encourage people to travel. They tried to restrict travellers, you know, without making it a formal restriction. So it's still, you know, very much a working matter, a work in progress, shall we say. So I'm hopeful I can get back to Shanghai later on this year. So we're just hoping to see how things go. But I'll keep everybody in the loop about what's going on there. And Master Wong and all of our students, everybody says hi and Happy New Year to everybody. So I hope you're all well. Okay, so if you have any other questions about Shanghai, we can have a little chat a bit at the end of the workshop. Just very last exercise, and then we'll do a little bit of form. This one is a single person training for waist and hips, so similar to what we've just been doing, but is also incorporated into a push hands pattern, which I think Danny and Pete, I think we also perhaps did some of this in London many moons ago. Okay, so we're going to be going from bow stance to cat stance. So if I show you from the front first, okay, so right leg in front, so weight in the right leg, right hand crisscross pattern in front, turn the waist, left hand in front, but weight still in the right leg. So we'll just do that first. So weight in the front leg, so right hand extends forward, left hand extends forward. So I would say around just below chest height. So at the moment we're not going backwards, we're just staying in the front leg, but we're getting this turn through the spiral through the waist and the spine. So if you, I can't remember what they call them, but you know those little drums where you spin like that and they tap on either side. There's a proper word for those, but I've forgotten. So it's a little bit like that little drum. Okay, so that's our forward leg motion. So for our backward leg motion, which is going to be part of our push hands pattern, we're going to bring the right elbow forwards, turn the body, left elbow forwards. So this is the back stance pattern. And we're going to put the two together in a minute. So left elbow, left palm down, right palm is up now. Turn the hands over as you transition the right elbow forward, left elbow back. So you see how the palms are changing. So now your weight's just in the back leg. So it's also the waist, you can't really see very much. Although your hips are not doing the same kind of movement, you're turning inside the hips. Okay, so now we're going to put the two together. So weight forward, back, with the left hand, forward with the right hand. Left palm pulling backwards, right elbow forward as you sit back. Left elbow forward as you sit back. Weight trace forward, right hand forward, left hand forward, sit back, elbow, left elbow. Weight trace forward, right hand forwards. So what is happening is you doing this is your partner applying their elbows to you. You're now sitting back, applying your elbows to your partner's extended hands. So your hand would be on the wrist and on the elbow. Your hands and your elbow would be attacking this part of their shoulder. So here now I'm grabbing their hand. This hand will be on their wrist, on their elbow. This hand's on their wrist, this hand's on their elbow, and my elbow's attacking their upper arms extended forwards. So even if you don't have a partner to do push hands with, you can still practice by yourself, but your imagination and intention, is important. Okay, very good. So as you sit back, P, imagine okay, very good. Imagine somebody's arm. This extended arm is now what you're attacking. Okay, very good. Okay, very good. So imagine you've got their wrist with this hand, right hand on their elbow, your elbow attacking their extended arm at the shoulder. And then on the back leg. Now they're attacking you. Okay, very good. One more. So you let them have the arm to attack, because this is a training push hands drill. And now you're attacking their arm. Okay, very good. So this is for your partner attacking you. This is you attacking them. Okay. 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 Any questions? Okay. So I know we've done quite a lot today. So if you have any questions about any of the exercises we've done so far, feel free to ask me. I'm going to make the video available to everybody, so sometimes later on when you're watching, something will come into your mind. Feel free to drop me an email. I think you all have my email, but I'll put it in the chat feature as well if you want to double check. So
I had a question.
Oh, hi.
I had a question.
Hi, Ronnie. Hi.
All right, so that form you did with the elbows, what is that called?
Oh, that's a push hands drill.
Push hands and what?
It's drill, D-R-I-L-L, drill. It's a training drill.
Okay. It's just so crazy because like that drill that you was just doing, I literally was like, that's one of my forms that I do.
Uh-huh.
And I even taught somebody that form, but when I taught them that form, they was like holding a ball in their hands.
Okay.
And one of the other times they was holding like a basket with both their hands. So I taught them to use a ball so they can turn the ball with the other hand that's going forward. But I was trying to get them to not use so much as their wrist or whatever. The ball was to keep it right there, and they was only to turn their elbows. So the ball was used to help them just focus on the movement of their elbows.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, this is a two-person set. So, of course, normally, you would have somebody's wrist and elbow that you would be manipulating. But this is a really good exercise, for doing by yourself, but also for getting that forward, back, and hip and waist integration working as well. But very good for keeping the elbow the focus. And you can see as you get the elbow that you'll really feel a stretch through the whole spine. So it's a very good exercise as well as a push hands drill. Thanks. It's a good question, Randy. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Hi, Rose.
Hi.
Could I ask a question here? Could you just do that push hands drill from the side with the side on view?
Yes, of course. Okay.
Please, that'd be great. Thank you.
Are you welcome? Okay, so and then the sitting back.
Sitting back, yeah.
So this one is 2 in the back and 2 in the front, because this would be you being attacked. This is you defending.
Okay.
And you get like a crop. So you can do this downwards, but no, not too low. So you could say about chest height, between chest and hip height. Because it depends on how far they manipulate you and how tall your partner is. So if you have a very a shorter partner, your hand may be lower. So you need to be able to adjust to both heights. So although you're sitting back, keep your intention focused forwards, because your elbow is attacking them. Okay. Okay. Does that help?
That's great. Yeah. Thanks, Rose. That's brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Oh, okay. Oh, I see we have a partnership going there with Nick and Lisa. So maybe I can show you with my technical assistant. So Colin hasn't done much push hand, so I'll just demonstrate the elbow hand. Let me see. So this hand to this elbow. How should we do this? Oh, this is maybe better. Okay, so this hand on the opponent's wrist, this hand on their elbow, and this will be your attack here to this part. Okay, so you want to get this sort of rolling action. Okay, so as you come here, and then this hand here,
Well, that's it.
and here, and then when they do it to you, so if you do that hand with extend the fingers down. So this would be your hand in the forward hand posture. Okay. So if I just show you from here, you must get your hand on their elbow to get into their shoulder. Don't go below their arm. Must be in that divot. You know, that divot there in the shoulder, just below the armpit, just below the humerus, where it sits in. So that's the armpit. So just above that, in that point where it's a bit sore, if you press it here, that's an acupressure point for the small intestine, really. So that's the point that you want to get into with the elbow. So then you can manipulate their whole body. If you're too low, you know, you can't manipulate their body. Okay. So, and just remember, you want to kind of extend so that you still have power. So this part here, if you put your left hand on your right shoulder, and can you feel underneath the base of the humerus, not into the armpit, but just where there's a sort of soft point. If you press it, it's like ooh, ooh. Can you all feel that? That's part of your small intestine meridian. So that's where you're going to attack with your elbow. And by attacking that point, you manipulate their whole arm because you get them into that kind of a posture. Okay. If you have neck pain or kind of digestive issues, this is also a good acupressure point. So if you sort of like, you know, if you overeat and you're like, oh, I feel really hideous and uncomfortable, you know. Or if you have neck pain, shoulder pain, you know, from on the computer, this is also a very good point. So that's a separate issue, but yeah, it's also helpful to know too. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of the first section of the form because I know like Gabe and Nick and Ronnie, I think, have done the form before. So if anyone wants to just follow along, you're very welcome to. And then if you have any final questions about any of the movements or exercises we've done, either please feel free to drop a message to the chat function, or just open your mic and ask. And I know some people have had to leave, so if you didn't need to just head off, thank you for joining. Okay, so we're just going to do the first section of the form, and I'm probably going to turn the other way because I think that'll be easier. Apologies if occasionally I'll have to kind of shift along a little bit because I'll get too close and outside of the camera view. So those little footsteps aren't necessarily part of the form, but that's just to keep me in shot. So apologies if that looks a bit sort of, what is she doing? Okay, so I'm going to face away from everybody. So we're just going to walk through the form. I won't talk through it, but we'll just do a follow along. And then if we have questions, we can do that afterwards. If I go out the shop, can you just let me know? Just moving to get back in shot. Okay, so that's just the first section of the form. If you want to know more about the form or to study the form, do let me know. We'd be very happy to work over Zoom or teaching that as well. So I know Gabe is teaching that in teaching our form in North Carolina, in Durham as well. So to Nick, I think, and Ronnie, both her students. So that's kind of the end of our actual workshop today. But we'll take questions or anything you wanted to go over, anything you want to ask, feel free to ask me. Really, thank you very much for joining. Maybe we can go to gallery view so we can, I think there's a few people left, so we can go back to gallery view. So if you have any questions, oh, bye Sheena.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining. See you. Bye. Thanks for coming.
Can I just say something?
Yeah. Hi, Gabe. Yes, please do.
Yes, Master Rose, thank you so much. It was so wonderful, and I learned so much. I'm really glad my students can join in. It was really funny because I kept asking them if they were going to join in, and they didn't tell me. And then when they did, it was like, oh, hooray, hooray. Sometimes it's like, it's better if they don't say, but then they do join in, you know.
Thank you very much.
Surprise, you know.
Well, thank you very much for drumming up support as well. I know you work very hard to enthuse everybody and encourage everyone to come, so thank you.
I keep reminding them, I keep sending them emails. And I want to say it was absolutely delightful to see all my Tai Chi brothers and sisters. We have such a wonderful international Tai Chi family.
Yeah, no, it is. It's lovely. I'm so glad so many people could join, and it was really nice to see everybody. I'm not sure if anyone has any final questions or anything. I know, Gabe, you had a question about the second section, so we'll come to that as well. But
yeah, I don't. If people haven't gotten there yet, I don't want to go ahead, you know. But I do have a question. But
you know, that's fine. So we'll take your questions. But if anyone, oh, hi, Kalina. Yeah, hi.
So much. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh,
thanks for the invite, Gabe. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Kalina. Good. Best wishes to you and Joe.
Yeah, I'm off as well.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Rose.
Yeah, thanks.
Great.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. Take care and see you
Thanks,
soon.
Rose.
You're welcome. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming.
Master Rose, I wanted to say something about your form.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, your form, the flow was very good. And you did not need to slow down, pause, or stop to like think of, okay, what was the next move? What was the next position? But even when you adjusted your space, it went with the flow. It adapted to the flow. In fact, it was so much on a high level of mastery that even when you step back to adjust your space, it looked like you was doing a move on an opponent behind you.
Thank you very much. It was very sweet and kind of you to say. Yeah, this was many, many moons ago. One of my teachers said at the time, never break your intention. So, you know, like an earthquake, you're in the middle of the form, you know, you've got to run, you know, if something happens, never break the intention, never break the energy. So everything then becomes part of your Tai Chi move. So ultimately, as they always say, you know, then everything is Tai Chi. So this is something I think that, you know, you can build into whatever you're doing. So thank you. That was very kind of you to say. But, you know, that's something I think we can all work on, is this idea that everything you're doing can have that same energetic flow. And that's also part of that calming of the mind and the heart and mind together. By, you know, even if you have to sort of break to do something, it doesn't stop that sort of sense of calmness and energy flow. So that's
yeah, it flowed with the movement so well on session mastery that when you step back to adjust your space, it looked like you was doing a move or a defense on someone behind you.
Yeah. So thank you. That's sometimes your environment forces that on you as well. So, but it's good to make all of that part of the form.
Yeah. Great. I want to thank Ronnie for being here. He always keeps me honest. Do we have time for me to ask this
Yes, of
question?
course. Yes,
Okay. So this is, I think you actually may have answered it with that drill. It was like, oh, this might be it. So I finished just about to do the separate the foot, and there's that really interesting bit where we actually do something that looks very similar to
yes,
the drill that we just did.
yes. Yeah, I was going to say something, and I was doing the form, but then I thought, no, I won't break the flow. But you can see how those trades of weight
Yes.
are part of the form.
Yeah.
When you do those sort of repetitive drills, which
Yeah.
is why they, you know, the old masters created those foundation exercises and drills before you learnt the form, because then when you learnt the form, it was like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, hi. Rather than, you know, what am I doing here? It's become second nature. So you'll see that in the first section.
Yes.
Where at the brush knee, when we do this move.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's all part of that same
Doing that.
idea.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, you'll see all of that movement. So I think that the analogy of the egg timer is really helpful for how students trade weight, because, you know, when you have like one of those egg timers, they never just go blop, blop.
Yeah.
There's a sort of slow pouring until all of the sand is there.
Oh,
That's how you're trading weight.
mhm.
So, okay, now the weight's fully traded, so you can lift up the leg. But if you think of an egg timer, so I'm slowly pouring the weight into that front leg
Okay.
until it's all down,
Yeah.
then my left leg can rise.
Okay.
And as it goes down, the left leg goes down, and I'm slowly pouring the weight until it's all the way through.
Okay.
So then the weight trade becomes sort of a seamless flowing action.
Oh,
So yeah, that move there, when we do here,
Yeah.
this is also,
very similar. Yeah.
yeah, and the same for Fair Lady Weaves the Shuttles. When we do Fair Lady Weaves the Shuttles,
Yeah.
so we have this same movement here.
Oh, yeah.
So you're feeling the weight trade.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit close to the camera, but. So it's the same idea in all of that.
Okay.
The idea of slowly pouring the weight from one side to another. And as you pour the weight, it's like the egg timer. You've got like a double egg timer going on.
Yeah.
So the same as the hands reach the zenith of their movement,
Uh-huh.
but the bottom part of the legs, the weight has also reached the zenith of its movement.
Okay.
So if you do that drill,
Uh-huh. Okay.
so once the weight drops down, that's when the hands have reached the zenith of that movement.
Okay.
And then as they're going forward, that is the momentum to drive you. So now, can you see I'm sort of starting to lift up?
Yeah.
Here is the complete drop of the weight, and then we continue. So,
Okay.
kind of, it's sort of like, you know, when you see doing the dragon dance where they wave the dragon.
Yeah.
So you're getting your whole body to make that same motion.
Ah, okay. Okay.
That's what makes the dragon, you know, when you see them holding the guys are holding, guys or girls are holding the posts of the staffs.
Yeah.
And they do that waving dragon. If you just look at the dragon's body, it's doing a very smooth, twisty-turny action.
Yeah.
But it's because of all of this, which is the waist integrating with the extremities.
Ah, good. Okay. We'll practice that. I'll We're gonna put that in there. We'll find a way. We'll put that in on maybe some Wednesdays with the beginners, so that because that is they're gonna need that to do section 1. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, to do the brush knee sequence, they've got to have that. That'd be great for me too. So I'll look at the video and I'll make a drill, make them a micro version.
And I would say, obviously we're limited to space here, so
Yeah.
have them do, you know, like you can't see the length of the living room, but you know, like say a minimum 12 paces. Minimum.
Oh, okay, good. Have them do the 12 paces. Okay, good.
Yeah, I would say minimum 12 because it takes you a few to get into the rhythm.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you only do 3 or 4, because, you know, we have such a limited space, that's why we're kind of, that's what the most I can do before I go out of shot. But, you know, you can go up and down. And one of the things is also that you can also get some of the more experienced players to do, is once they get here, once they get to the end, once they get to the end, you get them to turn. So they can also turn.
Incorporate the turn so they don't just stop and turn.
Yeah.
Incorporate the turn.
Yeah, so they can turn.
Yeah.
And go back the other way.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily do that with somebody who's just beginning, because then they'll get all their hands and feet all kind of uncomfortably messed up. You can get to here,
okay,
and then just turn around, and then just. So that way it still flows.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise, get to there and then just turn back and start again is also okay. But then you can see it kind of has a stop-start to it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is great. Thank you so much. So yeah, this answered my questions, and then we've got some good homework for our little beginner class where we do little tiny things. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was so nice of everyone to join. I'm glad Nick and Ronnie were able to join us. So thanks for encouraging everybody and drumming up support. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
because I didn't know if any of my students would show up. Oh, hooray! They came! Yay! It's very good, Ronnie. Really great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Okay,
thanks for joining, buddy.
Yeah.
I had a question about when you was doing the little elbow thing, and the hand that was right here. When it's defending against your partner or assistant, the hand that's down under the hand that's over, where exactly are you putting that hand on your assistant?
So for the walking line, so you've got one hand on the wrist, so you're going to turn their wrist. This hand's going to go under their elbow. So this is, you're getting this. So as you move, you're going to pull the right hand down, left hand up.
I know about that defense, but I'm talking about the drill you did where you was turning your.
I see. I'm sorry. Okay, I think to come this side. Okay, so for the drill, similar. So you're going to hold the wrist. This time it's on this part of the elbow, thumb underneath. So you're going to cover their elbow. Sorry. You're going to cover their elbow like so, and then your attack is here. Are you going to stand straight? Okay. So because it's a 2-person drill, so this hand is your wrist holding hand is going to make this turn.
Okay, so the wrist turning hand is the hand you're putting under.
Yes. So that's why you have in the posture.
Okay.
Like so.
Because
that mimics that hand on the elbow, hand on the wrist.
when you was like doing the drill, I saw one hand go under, but when you did it to the guy, both of the hands was like right here.
Yeah, because you have to make contact. So you start here, but then as they're coming forwards now, your hand is on catching their wrist and elbow, because
Okay.
it's a reaction to what they're doing.
Okay.
You're welcome. So
That answers my question.
you're welcome. So maybe, Gabe, you can try this. I think Nick has done this before, maybe. So maybe you can do classes.
Has done it before. Jim has done it before. Laura, they won't remember, but I'll remind them, and they have done it before. And Ronnie, we will get to it. You asked me at the park when we have a nice day, but we can't.
Oh no, this ain't getting paid. This is to my shoulders.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So we can't touch yet, but when we can touch, then we can practice this one.
Yeah, I did that. I did that drill before with somebody.
Okay.
I believe. And I also, that's funny because that same drill, I was actually well, not the drill, but the other form where you go down with the arm. I was telling teacher Gabe when she showed us that I actually did that to catch somebody that was doing a side halfway roundhouse kick. And I actually put my elbow on their calf, like their calf muscle, and I pushed them down using that same drill elbow technique.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same. An arm and a leg. They're the same. So yeah, you can do the same thing there.
Okay. Well, thank you, Master Rose. We don't want to take up too much of your time, and we're so grateful for everything. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's good to see you both, and thanks very much, Gabe. Appreciate you always supporting. So we'll be in touch on email, and I'll send the link to everybody. And I'll send it to you, and you feel free to share it with your students if you want to. So I'll leave that with you, so you can.
I had one more quick question. What was the name of the form?
Did we wait a little bit? Let Master Rose have her morning.
I did not know what was the name of the form where she.
We have to be careful with Ronnie. By the way, Ronnie will keep you here all day. I just want to let you know that.
No, I just needed to know what was the name of the form when I'm doing that. Where she traded the energy. I just needed to know what was the name of it.
It's just a qigong for integrating the upper extremities. It doesn't have an actual name, but it's a qigong for extremity integration.
Okay, qigong extremity integration. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.
再见，谢谢。
Thanks for the support.